So talking about the Risk-Based IOSA airline training course, this is a course that is essentially geared towards the preparation for the new model of the IOSA audits. So the RBI audits, as they are known, representing perhaps the most significant evolution step in the IOSA program ever since it started in 2003. And it is a very, very different experience from the previous IOSA model. And as such, exactly due to that main reason, this is a thoroughly recommended course for any airline that is looking towards their IOSA registration, because the model is indeed fundamentally different. Not exactly in the standards themselves, because the standards have suffered simply the usual evolutionary step-by-step progress that they normally do year on year. But the reality is the methodology changes dramatically. So for starters, the auditors will assess the documentation remotely. So instead of doing the documentation assessment together with the auditees during the traditional 5 days audit, nowadays the review is totally done off-site without the participation of the auditees. And when we arrive finally on site, we spend 4 days looking at only implementation in a concept, or using a methodology that we call the implementation assessment of a reduced scope. So the reduced scope has a major impact in the IOSA audit because it does reduce the number, and reduces by 40 to 45% the number of ISAPs that get audited. And because of this, it is a much more in-depth assessment. And in addition, we also do what we call the maturity assessment, because we have a large number, about 300 or so, criteria in addition to the ISAPs themselves, that we will use to assess the maturity of the implementation of the main safety and quality related processes. So this is a challenge for the auditees, because essentially they are removed from the traditional comfort zone that they were used to, in which, and to be honest, most of the audit time was dedicated to checking documentation. And nowadays that is totally not the case. So again, documentation review off-site, and then implementation and maturity assessment on-site. So this ends up delivering also a new report, which is a maturity assessment report, which is airlines have been finding this extremely valuable to determine how they can actually improve even on conformity, because these new criteria go above and beyond conformity. And the non-fulfillment of these criteria actually does not generate non-conformities, but generates a perception of the, let's say, the quality or the effectiveness and the maturity of implementation of these main processes. So it is absolutely fundamental to prepare properly for these audits, because again, the methodology is very different. And so the way to approach, the way to prepare has absolutely nothing to do with the traditional methodology. And these courses that we give, they are 100% geared towards this new understanding and this new methodology. In addition, any airline that is looking towards their renewal should look at booking and preparing their audits in advance, and in advance up to essentially a year before the registration expiry date. So halfway through their registration period, at least a year, the airlines should look at this. And even before that period, that would be the ideal step to send your post holders, your quality and safety department personnel, anybody and everybody that has to deal with the renewal process as auditees and as part of the preparation. it is absolutely fundamental for the airlines to prepare properly for this by participating in these courses. So either sending them to a training center or hosting, even ideally, hosting a course in their facilities to a group of dedicated people. And we do these courses for groups of up to 20 people, and they function very, very well. The feedback we're getting is excellent, because indeed it does help to prepare the audits, and it is essentially an eye-opener for many things that most people are not aware. The intricacies of the process in the preparation are really much more sophisticated, and to respond properly to the expectation of the auditors, training is absolutely fundamental. Thoroughly recommended, and the feedback has been absolutely fantastic.